Bible space-time.
Is there any example showing the heavenly sanctuary as a time machine?
Sure. Please read the following Bible verses.
The law is only a shadow of the good things that are coming, not the realities themselves. For this reason it can never, by the same sacrifices repeated endlessly year after year, make perfect those who draw near to worship. Otherwise, would they not have stopped being offered? For the worshippers would have been cleansed once for all, and would no longer have felt guilty for the sins. But those sacrifices are an annual reminder of sins. It is impossible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sins. Hebrew chapter 10 verse 1-4.
So, where is the example of time travel in these verses?
It is on the verse 2. Paul said, "For the worshippers would have been cleansed once for all, and would no longer have felt guilty for their sins."
Wow, that is strange. I still remember all the wrongdoings I did many years ago, and I still feel bad, even though I repented my sins sincerely, and have faith that those sins are forgiven. Jesus, the realities, already has come and died for us. Why do I still remember my sins and feel guilty?
It is because the services in the heavenly sanctuary has not been finished yet according to our time. But once it is finished, the cleansing service in the most holy place, we are not going to remember our sins, and so we will not feel the guilt anymore.
So, you mean, it is not just feeling of guilt but also the actions of sins will be taken away from us?
Yes. This sacrifice of Jesus was not just to make us forget what we did, or change our conscience so that we don't feel the guilt anymore, but it was to take away our sins.
It is hard to understand the meaning of taking away. If I say, "I took your thorn away," that means you don't have your thorn anymore. But can you apply this to our sin and the result of sin?
Sure. Paul clearly said that the blood of animal sacrifice cannot purify our sins, but because of Jesus we have been made holy once for all.
If the cleansing of our sins in the heavenly sanctuary can really take away our sins, not just editing the records of sins, then is it making conflict with the space-time paradox?
This space-time paradox is just our problem, not God's. Bible didn't say that sinful information written in us, every time we commit sin, need to be modified or reshaped, but said that we need to be born again with a new heart.
I thought, God is going to give us a new heart when we go to heaven.
God is going to change our bodies so that we could live forever, but God is not going to change our hearts. We need to have a new heart to be saved. God is not going to force to change our heart to love God and to do good things. That is our choice. We believe in Him, not just because we are made to believe Him, but because we choose to believe Him.
But we cannot change our own hearts.
No. We cannot change our own hearts, but we can believe in Jesus so that Jesus can change our hearts. We are all sinners. A sinful heart cannot fix its own problem. Have you ever seen any mosquito suicide just because they feel guilty of spreading disease? No. Mosquito never believes in that way, because they also only live inside of their own limited information. Sin is like that. When sin comes in us, it creates its own information, and makes it a natural part of our heart so that we cannot see that as a problem. Only God can make us to realize that. So, we need to believe in Jesus so that He can come into our heart to fix our problems.
So, how is the heavenly sanctuary connected to this?
Forgetting or ignoring our sin is not salvation. Forgiveness is not just covering up the symptoms. God is going to recreate our heart by making us born again through Christ, by faith, in reality.
So, God will get rid of not only the symptom of sin but also the sin itself.
Yes. God's remedy to cure sinful disease is not giving us over-the-counter medicine, just to reduce the symptom, but restoring us to the time state that before we committed the sin.
Wait a minute. What you are saying is, God is going to change our past as if we have never sinned?
Yes. To be born again with a new heart, our past is needed to be changed. Sin is information that comes through experience. To fix this information of experience, our past should be changed. God can change our past so that we can have a new life. God is omnipresent in time and space, and God is the one who created us. God can fix any sin-related problem that is connected to the time of our life, and to the biological relation to our parents and ancestors.
You mean, God can even fix any abnormal DNA problem that we inherited from our parents too?
Sure. God can fix any inherited problems and any abnormal information, including habits, culture, or lifestyles that we acquired or inherited.
We usually treat any information that we are born with as natural. How do we realize what is abnormal?
Paul said, if we are not in God, we become a slave of sin. So it is very natural that we don't realize if we have sin problem, and it is impossible to fix anything if we cannot detect the problem. So from the realization and detection of sin to the cleaning of the sin, everything have to be done by faith.
So, will the final fix that God is going to work in us be a complete one?
Yes. When the time comes, when Jesus complete the service in the most holy place, all those who have been believing in him will receive the final fix, and they will be completely free from all the problems and complications of their past. They are going to have a new heart that is not connected to any sin problems of their past, regardless if those are inherited or acquired, timely or biologically.
Isn't it much easier just to make us to forget our bad past, without physically changing our time of the past?
If the atonement was just redoing the paperwork, changing our grade from sinner to righteous person, then Jesus didn't even had to personally die for us. The cross of Jesus was not an illusion, it was in reality, so the atonement will be completed, not in an assumption, but in real time of our lives.
That's why Jesus shouted, my God, why have you forsaken me?" on the cross. It was not a paper transition, but physical and historical transition of our sins. But I don't understand how Jesus could feel in this way. Even if our sins were transferred to him, he should know that they are not really his.
In our dimension, it is impossible to move one person's life experience to another person realistically. But that is certainly possible for God. Jesus took over our sins as if that is personal, by becoming one of us and taking sin in the flesh. The Bible recorded this high-dimensional work as for what the law was powerless to do because it was weakened by the flesh. God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh to be a sin offering. And so he condemned sin in the flesh, in order that the righteous requirement of the law might be fully met in us who do not live according to the flesh but according to the Spirit. Romans chapter 8 verses 3 to 4.
Wow. That's why I couldn't understand the meaning, he condemned sin in the flesh. I was not considering the possibility of the power of the omnipresent.
Yes. God is omnipresent in time and space. God can move the actual history of our sin into Jesus.
So, the law of God was fulfilled practically in reality, not symbolically.
Yes. God's law is perpetual. It cannot be changed or modified. The cross of Jesus was not a symbolic event. It was real punishment of God. Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Not in symbolic gesture. It was real. The cross was real, as our sins are real.
That's why the Bible recorded all the details what is happening in the heavenly sanctuary. When the service in the most holy place in the heavenly sanctuary is finished, the repented sins of the righteous people will be deleted from the history of our time and they will not remember any of them. The heavenly sanctuary is the place that stored our past, working as a time machine. Soon, God will take the action to fix our sin problems.
Thank you for watching Bible Space Time.